Hey everyone, hope you're well. Kelly Dean Allen here with you once again, and today going to show you how to play the Thin Lizzy deep cut Warriors from the band's 1976 album Jailbreak. Now, as I've recently done a couple of pretty high profile tracks by both Thin Lizzy and Aerosmith with The Boys Are Back in Town and Same Old Song and Dance by Aerosmith, I figured that it was time to dig back into something just a little bit more obscure by Thin Lizzy, as these type of tracks and lessons tend to be the bread and butter of my channel overall. I'll hit you up with a fantastic Aerosmith deep cut in the coming days as well, just to keep things even, yeah? And with that said, let's close in and get started with Thin Lizzy and Warriors. All right then, Warriors, Thin Lizzy from 1976's Jailbreak album. We are tuned down 1/2 step for this tutorial. Here's your tuning. Now this track starts with these little sliding double stops, right? You're going to be repeating a whole bunch of times here. So we're starting with a double stop, our index here on the 7s of the D and the G string, a little down, up, down, and then slide it back to 5. Right? And then you're going to go back into 7 and you're going to triple that up. You're going to hit that 9 times. So down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, then slide it back to 5. Right? And before repeating, there's a little bend release of that 7 off to 5 of the G. Kind of like that, right? And then repeat. Then we're going to move the whole thing up to the 14s and 12s, play the exact same thing. Twice. And then back to the 7s and 5s. Twice. And then we drop into the main riff. Drums come in. First verse. So that little lick that we're playing there, repeating it 4 times, leading into the first verse, sliding into 5 of the D string, up to 7 of the A, and then back to the 5 of the D. Then you're going to grab the 7 of the A, triple hit it, off to 5, finish on the 7 of the low E. Kind of like that. You're going to repeat that 4 times. Into the first verse. And you're going to be repeating that 4 times. So it's all power chords here, starting with a B power chord, off to an A power chord, into an E power chord. And before moving on, we're going to drop back onto that 5 onto 7. 5 of the D onto 7 of the A, choke it off, right? Right, and choke that note off. Then we're going to drop into G, into A, and back to E. And before repeating, we're going to go back into that lick again, but we're going to extend it, right? So you're going to go 5 from the D, 7 of the A, pick that again, pull it off to 5, finish on the 7 of the low E. Right? Right back into B, and repeat. Choke it off. Finish on the 7 of the low E. One more time. Now the final time we're going to extend the lick even further. And then finish on that G note there, the 3rd fret of the low E. So starting it the same way, up to that 7 of the low E, right? But then we're going to go back to the 5, back to the 7, off to 5, off to 3. And then just hang on that 3 for about a bar, and then drop back into the main riff, right? back into the next verse. Right, 4 times. The final time, you go off to that G note there, let it ring, and that drops into the guitar solo by Brian Robertson. Great wah, classic wah solo. I'm not going to kick my wah on for this because I want to show you how to play it, and that's just going to get in the way. But if you have a wah pedal, kick your wah pedal on for this one. This goes a little something like this. Kind of like that, right? A little variation in there that I kind of improvised. But so anyway, we're soloing in the key of A, using the A minor pentatonic, A natural minor scale, I guess. We're starting on the A to the B string, 3 full step bends. Right? Bend it one more time. Release it off to 5 and then roll it up to 5 of the G. Right into this. Finishing on that 5 of the G again. So hammering on 5 to 7 of the D, 5 onto 7 of the G, right into a full step bend. Then you're going to go down to 5 of the B, double hit it, onto 8, pull it back off to 5. Right, and then you're going to re-bend that 7 of the G and back to a double hit of that 5. And then another pull off from 8 to 5, right? And then one more bend of that 7 of the G, back down to that 5 for a double hit. And then 7 off to 5, kind of staccato, right? Ba, ba, to finish that whole lick. Right from the beginning. Wow. Wow, wow. Now you're going to take that note, slide it into 12, into that lick right there. So 12 onto 14 of the G, and then 12 onto 13 of the B. And then you're just going to go back and forth twice between the 12 and 13, and then finish on that 12 of the G. Right? Down to the 15 of the B. Into that lick right there. So we're going to give that 15 of the B a full step bend, grab the 15 of the high E, and then re-bend that 15 of the B. Right? And then pick it at the top, release it off to 13. Back onto 15 and finish on the 14 of the G, right? Right, and then we're into this kind of repeating lick. So just classic kind of blues lick, right? So the very first time we're going to bend this 14 of the G, and then we're going to go 12 onto 15, pulling it back off to 12 of the B, right? And then the next 5 times, we're going to get the high E involved here. So you're going to ride down the 12s before doing that pull off from 15 to 12. And you're going to repeat that like 4 or 5 times, right? And then the final 2 times, you're going to drop that high E out of the equation again, right? And repeat that twice. Kind of like that. So the whole thing put together, this whole lick. Right? And then you finally drop onto that 15 of the high E into a full step bend. then he takes it up another half step, right? Off to 12 of the B, and then drop onto the 15 of the B. Into this. So we're coming off that 15, off to 12 of the G, on to 14 of the G, and then you're going to do a bend release of the 12 of the G with your index, and then drop onto 14, and repeat that twice. And then finally give that 14 a little bend release off to 12, finishing on the 14 of the D, right? And then finishing the whole phrase with this. So, just hammering on 12 to 14 of the D, 12 onto 14 into a bend of the G, and then that little lick right there, right, double hit, pull off 15 to 12, 14 back to 12, full step bend of the 15 of the high E and release it. Right, and then we're into this. So now we're soloing in E, so we're going to ride up this little E minor shape. Just going to go 12, 12 from the B to the G onto the 14 of the D, repeated 3 times. And then you're going to drop right into a trill between 12 and 13 of the B. Right? Into this. Just a little bend of this 8, bend release. Right, bend it and then rebend it, release it to the natural note, into this, kind of like that on the 5s and 7s, finishing on the 5 of the G, right, and then we're into that repeating lick again, now in A. And you're going to repeat it 5 times. The first time you're not hitting the high E, the following 4 times you are. Right, and then you're going to take that bar that you're holding, slide it from the 5s of the B and the high E all the way up to the 17s. And then slide out of it. With the wah, it's kind of like wow, 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 right? Drops right back into the main riff again. So that is the solo. So from the beginning. Right? That is the solo. Right back into the main riff twice. Then we're going to drop into a C major 7 chord. Basically a C with your index off of the first fret of the B. 4 middle strings, right? And then down to D, just a D5, right? Then off to E minor. Strum all the strings. Into a B minor 7. Right, just a bar on the 2s and a ring finger here on 4 of the D and 3 of the B. Right, back off to the C major 7, back down to D, and then into a E minor 7. Same shape we were holding here in the B minor 7, but here with a bar on the 7s with with our index, and ring finger here on the 9, and middle finger down here on the 8 of the B. Right, so that little section there. C major 7, D, E minor, B minor 7, C major 7, down to D, not a full D, we're not getting down to the high E, and then into the E minor 7, right, and then we drop into this. That goes on for quite some time, a number of bars. Just going to hammer on open D onto 2, and then you're going to do some mutes, right? Kind of like a ba-da-da, ba-da, right? Like a little triplet and then a little doublet, right? And then you're going to pull off 5 off to 2 and choke it off. And then more mutes, right? And you just continue that, right? I think you repeat that like 12 times, right? And then it gets, then we continue that. And then you're going to start grabbing these A power chords, right? Coming off that pull off from 5 to 2. Kind of like that, and repeat that 4 times. And there's another guitar way up here grabbing a little double stop, right? It's really hard to get up there at this, on one guitar. Kind of like that, right? And after you repeat that 4 times, we drop back into the main riff for 4 repeats. And then we drop into C, choke it off, into D, choke it off, and then right at the end of the track, that right there, sliding into that 5, pulling off 7 off to 5 of the A, up to 7 of the low E, off to open E, choke it off, right? End of track. That, my friends, is how you play Warriors by Thin Lizzy. Certainly hope you enjoyed that, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that'd be very kind and helpful to my channel. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, wherever that may find you, and we will see you next time. Cheers.